Good evening, everyone. As you can hear, my name is Sean, and this is actually the first time I'm visiting back the island since I left 1 year ago. Since that time, I have never taken off my necklace. Thank you guys so much. You've always had me on your heart. First of all, I just want to say thank you again, Scotty and Jenna, for leading this church just such an amazing way. Also, thank you so much for offering to buy anyone's flight that wants to come to Samoa. So generous. Just thank you for that. Tegan and my 1-year-old Eli just send their love as well. Tegan, she's still in Samoa, just looking after the church. She's doing an amazing job. She's very excited to come to the next wedding in December. See everybody. There you go. Little Eli, he says, quote, "I miss you, my aunties and uncles. I love every single one of you. I'm walking around like a little beast, and please keep praying for my dad," end quote. But to be honest, there's a lot to catch up on. You know, it's been a year, which is just crazy. For those that don't know me, just a little bit of an introduction. I've been a Christian, a disciple, going on 12 years now. I was first baptized in Los Angeles, and over the last about 7 years or so, I've been able to serve in the ministry and bounced around a while. During that time, I've taken up leadership in some regards in Sydney, here in Auckland, as you guys know, and now leading the beautiful island of Samoa. And as of 6 days ago, you know, which is just crazy. But in particular, as we go through this past year and what I've gone through, I just want to share with you tonight what's happened in my life in the last year, and we get to catch up a bit together. And I hope to share with you the struggles that I went to, what I've learned and grown in, and also goals that I have for my spiritual walk. And in doing this, I hope that you too can reflect in your life and hopefully learn some things as well. But through this, I think one scripture that was on my heart was in Matthew chapter 15. I sent out the lesson via email. If you want to receive that, you can get that from the person next to you. I sent it out to the members of the church. But to be honest, we won't be bouncing around too much. So if you want to be in Matthew 15, verse 21 through 28. And we're going to be looking through the Phoenician woman or the Canaanite woman. Yes, I do still, reflect on women as well in the Bible. They can teach us a lot of awesome things, to be honest. But it says here in Matthew 15, 21 through 28, let's just get into the story. It says, leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him, crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and is suffering terribly." Jesus did not answer a word. So his disciples came to him and urged him, "Send her away, for she keeps crying out to us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." The woman came and knelt before him. "Lord, help me," she said. He replied, "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." "Yes, it is, Lord," she said. "Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table." Then Jesus said to her, "Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted," and her daughter was healed at that moment. What an amazing story. Just setting the scene just a little bit. We meet Jesus as he's retreating to a region called Tyre. And this is a place that's actually a kind of a coastal city in, at that time, Phoenicia. It's famous for its ships, its merchants, its trading, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a very godly city. It was known for its idolatry and worship of many other gods, and yet it was even prophesied, even in Isaiah. So it hasn't been a godly city for a very long time. And but God finds this awesome woman with great faith. We even understand that in Luke chapter 6, verse 17, that there was a lot of people like this. It says here, he went down with them and stood at a level place. A large crowd of his disciples were there, and a great number of people from all of Judea, from Jerusalem, and from the coastal region of Tyre and Sidon. This would have actually taken, at the place that Jesus was at this time, 3 days to get there on foot. And so Tyre actually had some awesome people. And so we come and meet this woman. And like her, I think there are some lessons I've learned throughout my last year that I think this woman just, wow, it just always calls us up higher. Point number one, There is nothing like an attitude check. There's just nothing like an opportunity to get what is going on really on your heart. This woman came to Jesus with her issues, and to be honest, the odds were stacked against her already. Before she even showed up, it was going to be a difficult situation. Why? Because she wasn't a Jew or an Israelite. Jesus later on explains, hey, my priority at the moment is just for the Jews and just for the Israelites. That was not her. She's even described being a Canaanite woman, and if you don't know, that's literally a direct opposite of an Israelite. It's like the enemy of God right there. And she's coming as an enemy of God saying, I have this issue. Also, Jesus didn't want to be found. At this time, he had wanted no attention at all. If you look at another gospel in the same story, it says Mark chapter 7, 24 through 25. It says Jesus left that place and went to the vicinity of Tyre. He entered a house and did not want anyone to know it. He was trying to have a little moment to himself. Yet, he could not keep his presence secret. In fact, as soon as she heard about him, a woman whose little daughter was possessed by an impure spirit came and fell at his feet. So not was she only an Israelite, she was an enemy of God, but also Jesus didn't want to see anybody, even if she was an Israelite. Right. To be honest, I understand that just a little bit. Right when I was coming over here to Auckland, Scotty calls me up and says, hey man, I hear you're coming and enjoying the wedding. How about preaching on Wednesday? I should have responded like Jesus. I'm only sent here to the lost sheep of Nixon. But, here I am, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to preach. But as well, there's many times that people have ran up to Jesus and said, the disciples trying to push them away, the blind, and shut up. But Jesus has said, hey, no, come out. Right. This is not that case at all. Calling someone a dog. To be honest, in America, that's cool. What up, dog? That's actually not so bad. But not in Australia nor New Zealand. There is just an opportunity right there to get your attitude checked. Jesus calling you a dog. You would have been especially in America, if you get disrespect, Jesus, you're going to need to heal yourself in a minute if you keep talking like that. But that's not how the woman reacts at all. Proverbs 19:11, a person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. No wonder she gets these things. Her response humbles us all, does it not? She's not remembered nor recorded because of the miracle. That's crazy. But because of her attitude. To be honest, if you look throughout the Bible, they're not recorded because of the miracle. They're recorded because God saw something in their heart. To us, we focus on the miracles. To God, he focuses on the heart. Right? All the time, whenever you read a miracle, what's most important to God? He's like, I can multiply fish. I can do those things. That's not whoa to God. He's like, but that heart, I was willing to bless that heart. She asked for help and humbled herself. She could have got discouraged, self-piteous, unfaithful, felt shame, insecure, doubt, any of these things, right? But instead, she gives one of the best responses I believe Jesus ever heard. Even the dogs eat from the crumbs from the master's table. Don't you just wish you were there when she said it? Dang, that was good, I don't know if you had a quill or something to write that down. That would have been pretty hard, but you would have wanted to remember that. It was interesting leaving last year, this awesome family, and going back to Sydney. Attitude check. I knew that there was things that I needed to work on. But at the same time, I was a little bit blind. I don't know if you were ever there to exactly what it was. Yeah. Your heart needs something, but you just don't know what it is. I knew my relationships needed reconnecting. I knew I had a long way to go in taking responsibility for certain sins in my life. Humility was important, as it always is. But to be honest, I think I returned with an attitude someone might have seeing a doctor rather than a therapist. What I mean by that is when you see a doctor, you want to get patched up and sent back out, right? You're like, you don't want to talk issues. Maybe even nurses in here. You see somebody come with an issue and you try to get deep with them. Maybe you shouldn't be doing that anymore. And they're like, whatever, you see them 2 weeks from there. You know, but going in and seeing a therapist, you're willing to open up your heart. And I think in the moment I thought my attitude was great. I thought, man, I'm good. I know I'm just in a little bit of sin that I need to work on. I need to just get patched up and let's go. But don't be deceived. Sin is always a heart issue. Yeah. Sin is always a heart issue. You may go, I'm just caught up in this and I need to figure it out and I just need to, get myself in a better environment. No, your heart's messed up. How do I know that? Because my heart was messed up. Right. Within a month of me being there, have you ever tried to start a fight with somebody that they don't want to fight back? Yeah. Isn't that annoying? Yeah. Fight me. Let's argue, let's get into it. And they're just like, it's okay, let's be patient. I'm just mad. So there was one time, it was in a staff meeting in Sydney. And thank you, Nixon. We actually were, me and Joe were fighting over me returning to get with Nixon's baptism. So I appreciate that, bro. But me and Joe, in the middle of a staff meeting or near the end of it, he asked me a question that just frustrated me. And I started fighting back with him. And you can just hear the room is silent. And I think Effie and Emmanuel were there. And they will attest to this. Effie will attest to this. She can share my sin. I give you permission. But I think she got with me 2 days later. And Emmanuel was like, bro, this wasn't right. And I was totally blind. I was like, man, that was awesome. I was like, I taught everyone in the room it's okay to let's get deep. And Emmanuel was at this point where he was just shocked by it. He was like, help me understand, bro. But I wanted to fight, and I just didn't see it. I think in the beginning I cared more about being right and being trained and showing how much I learned and I was okay and it was just sin than going, it was a heart issue. Yeah. I think the lesson I learned is your attitude determines your outcome. Yeah. Not your actions. Not your actions. So when you have a bad attitude, really about anything, to be honest, everything is defiled. If you think you can't, you won't. Yeah, that's true. It's your attitude. Yeah. I remember there was a time when we got there in Sydney. Joe sat us down, and this is when I was doing a little bit better than that month. He was like, "Okay, you can lead a region now," And he started talking about Parramatta, and Parramatta, I love it. It's like a western region in Sydney, and he was first talking about, hey, this place is quite known for a little bit disenfranchised character issues, and there's going to be challenges and da-da-da-da-da. And then right after that, he challenges me super hard on your issue is you don't know how to make leaders. And I'm sending you to Parramatta. And I didn't understand how those connected at all. I was like, if my issue is I can't make, why are you sending me to one of the hardest places to do that? Wow. And I kind of started with this attitude of well, bro, that's your fault. You sent me to Parramatta. That's your fault, Joe. But at the same time, I think when Tegan, my wife, and our attitude started to change, then I met DJ. And I met him early on where I started to understand why Parramatta is a little bit questionable. Not answering my phone calls, just, that stuff. But amen, God blessed his heart and his faith. He became a disciple. And I do remember asking questions, though, when he first got converted. I said, what do you do with somebody who's just a bit older and this and that? And I have vision for this guy, but I don't know. What do you do? And they're like, I don't know. Maybe the best thing he can get up to is a Bible talk leader. I really remember walking away from that conversation, to be honest, and going, I don't believe that. Come on. I don't believe that. Paramedic and all. I think this guy can do something. You know? And with the grace of God, now he's going on a mission team. He's getting married next week. It's been awesome. Just to see how awesome God has blessed him. Again, we come back to it. Your attitude determines your outcome. If you think you're weak, you'll act that way.
Yeah, that's true.
If you think you have low faith, you'll continue to have that. We're self-prophesying. You start with that attitude and going, I don't know, I have this weakness and this. You're never going to come to anything. Guess what? God believes in every single person. Every single person. And I remember praying about that not too long ago. I was like, that's profound. Because there's this opposite effect where sometimes we doubt God, and yet He's created the cosmos. God believes in us, and we sometimes can't wake up on time. It's like, shouldn't it be the opposite? You know, God sometimes doesn't believe in us, but we believe in Him. It's like, it's crazy how much God believes in us. But when you have a great attitude, everything's blessed in your life. Everything. Because you're just excited. You know, how is your attitude about being trained? Attitude of like, I'm here to learn no matter what. To be honest, this woman took the full weight of being trained by Jesus with gratitude. Even the challenge is like, you're just a dog to me. And she went like, I am, just give me the crumbs, Jesus. Dang. 1 Timothy 4:8, for physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. You know, it's awesome when you are totally accepting the training of God. God will move miracles in your life. There's many people who have this perspective of Nixon, to be honest, that he's on the fast track. The last year for his life have been radically different. You know, and it's been crazy, you know, talking about Lee J and Nixon. Beware, sisters, I will baptize your husband. Just keep praying for my heart, guys, you know. But with this, to be honest, why has Nixon moved so fast? It's because he has a great attitude of training. And guess what? Some may have made the mistake that training starts after baptism. They go, wow, the last year. God didn't start measuring this man at baptism. God's been investing in him long before. I know I met him, you know, early on, and he would always talk about honor. He would always talk about, I got to be a man of my word. If I'm doing something, I got to give my whole heart. He was trained way before baptism. It's because of his attitude. You know, people, and that's even for those who maybe have not been yet, you know, become a Christian or made that decision. Your training has already started. Training has started already. You know, people can change around us because of their attitude. You know, it's pretty cool right now. I'm currently being discipled by someone I helped baptize and disciple. Some people would falsely believe that I am humble. No, I pray a lot more. I pray a lot more. And it's not even about, like, I love Effie and Emmanuel so very much. But to be honest, even before arriving in Samoa, I understood that my attitude is going to be extremely important when I get there. Extremely important. And in certain things, I think I came with the right attitude and the right mind. Because you don't know what you're going to be challenged on, you know. I heard about the dogs, so I've been like, okay, I've been practicing throwing rocks and stuff. If you don't know, there's wild dogs. I'm not, you know, picking people's neighbors' dogs and randomly throwing rocks at them. But I came there, okay, cold showers. Okay, I understand that. Changing my diet. Okay, I understood that. One thing I didn't understand that my attitude would be tested in, my sermons. I've been lifted up for a very long time, like, Sean, you have great sermons and stuff. Man, I've never felt more like a dog. I've heard many times, like, Sean, your sermons are great, but you're not hitting the heart of the people. Dang it. It's humbling. The one thing I thought I was doing great at. Gotta have the right heart. Gotta have the right attitude. And even now, I'm still just praying, like, God, humble me. And they're helping me just to understand, see, selfishness is not just about you going in there with the wrong mindset. Are you giving people what they need? Yeah. Right? If I keep giving people what maybe you guys need or what a city need, but if Samoa needs something different, I got to change. Right? I can't just keep in that, well, that's me, and they got to adjust to the leader. No, that's not how it works. I got to change my attitude in my training. How's your attitude in new relationships, new situations? See, this woman put her faith in Jesus and nothing else. This was a difficult situation for her. Difficult situation. Being asked to go to Samoa, it was pretty funny. Before we were only asked about 7 weeks ago, to change up our life, and we have a 1-year-old, and so we were totally surprised by this because we thought, adventure is a little bit behind us. We'll stay within the region of Australia or something like that. But the weeks leading up to it, it was funny. And you can even do this if you want. Look at the recordings of Joe's sermons. They're all about Samoa is a paradise. It's amazing. Beaches as far as the eye can see. Coconuts. The people are awesome. After we got asked, man, there's bugs in the rice. Cold showers. The people there, they're going to challenge your heart and how much you're going to give. I was like, what the heck happened? It's just like, it totally turned on me. And it was like, I just had to this is a new situation. Got to get my heart right.
Come on, Sean.
Do you get worried or do you get excited when there's a new situation? God's going to do something. Do you get focused on the change or focused on God? Having a new kid has been a new situation. It's funny. My kid's only like 1-year-old, Eli. But now that's how everyone sees me. I'm a dad. If you ask Ian and Margot, they're still shocked. They're amazed. Like, they still want to ask me every day, and I think out of respect they don't. Eli's alive, right? Like, but I think they don't because they know my wife is an amazing mom. But having a kid, to be honest, I think it convinces me of something that's a bit funny to say, but I believe is true. I'm convinced parents are the only people who have ever been tempted to throw a baby out a window. Because babies will challenge you. All the parents know what I'm talking about. Everyone else is shocked to their core. They will challenge you over and over again. Eli's favorite toy is my attention. You understand that when you have a kid, it's like, it's just you. You are their world. And he's just always attached to my leg and everything, but it's a new situation. What's your attitude? Again, how's your attitude in relationships? This woman looked at Jesus as her only answer is, even though what could have been described and how he reacts to her is very disrespectful. But still, great attitude toward this new relationship. Her view of Jesus never changed throughout this situation. How you view relationships shapes everything.
Right.
1 John chapter 4:21, anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sisters. Must. It's not like it would be good if you learned how to do it. You must.
Yeah.
You simply need to decide to love people, period. Just learn how to love people. And even going to Samoa, there's been different challenges in how I need to view my relationships. To be honest, my favorite thing to do in sermons is tell jokes, as you probably can tell. I kind of work my way backwards for my jokes. But in Samoa, sometimes people haven't laughed at my jokes. They just sit there with the Samoan facial expression. If you're Islander, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just like, I gotta relearn, how I joke with people. Everything has to change. It's crazy. How you view relationships shapes everything. I'm very grateful and just blessed to be a great friend of Nixon. I know before he became a Christian, we got to celebrate his birthday. And he, at the end, when he kind of shared and just said thank you, he said, one day I'll be baptized. He decided to wait 5 more months after I left. Amen. But what I do hold dear, and I'm grateful, is that I truly believe that he believed that I would have been his friend regardless if he ever became a Christian. And why do I know that he believed that? Because it's true.
Yeah.
If he ever became a Christian or not, we would have still stayed brothers. Do you just love people, period?
Come on.
I think sometimes we come into the church and we start asking weird questions. One being, how do I connect with people? How do I make friends? You weirdo. Like, you were making friends before you became a Christian. Yes, the Bible would give you more advice on how to love people that are a bit different from you. You were doing that way before. The only thing is you got weird. You started loving people to become a Christian.
Right.
Just love people. They will notice. It will take time. They will see the God in you. How's your attitude in God's timing? Mark 7:25-26. Again, it talks about the Phoenician woman. In fact, as soon as she heard about him, that time she was like, I'm in there. A woman whose daughter was possessed by an impure spirit came and fell at his feet. The woman was Greek, born in Cyrene, Phoenicia. She begged Jesus to drive out the demon out of her daughter. This woman acted quickly. See, sometimes it's not just a situation, the relationships, but sometimes our attitudes can change depending on timing. How do I know that? In the beginning of the year, fired up. We're focused. I have goals. I wrote it down. By February, what are you talking about, goals? I forgot all about that, In the end of the year, we're waiting to be faithful again. I'm waiting for January. Have you started to already act like the year is over? It's a little bit weird being on this side of the world. See, in America, whenever we have the end of the year, we kind of have a few things happening. We have Halloween, then we have the turkeys everywhere for Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. But already on this side of the world, Christmas gifts and stuff are already out by like July. It's just like people are already looking for the end of the year. But so much can happen in such a short time.
Absolutely.
Again, we look at Nixon and Lee J. It's been a year, guys. And yet God has changed their life incredibly.
Yeah.
It teaches us this understanding. Most people will overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a week. They will overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a week. They go, in a year I'll make all these changes and all these things, and that's why we have those great New Year's resolution. But what about this week? I can't do that much. You can become a Christian in a week. The longest conversion was 3 days in the Bible. Now I got to take my time. It's cool. Again, we were challenged back in Sydney to learn how to make leaders and really go after these type of people. It was awesome. Tegan, my wife, there was an instance where there weren't many people who were showing up for time of just evangelism. People were either, coming late from work or in Bible studies or different things like that. But without many people showing up, her and another sister just went out, hey, we're going to go out there anyways. And that night she met an incredible woman named Venus. And some people know her, but she is just awesome upon awesome and awesome. And it happened so quickly. She met her, and one of her first kind of responses to Venus was just like, yeah, I'll study the Bible. And they did a Bible study that day. And I believe it was within 2 to 3 weeks she became a Christian. And it was just this understanding, like, things can happen quickly. It's one of those things. If you're looking between here and the end of the year, have you already started to kind of like think about Christmas presents and guys, so many more miracles can happen today. Come on. Are you still focused on the miracles? Have faith that even though things don't feel like they're lining up in your timing, whether that's with your family, finances, or whatever it is, God is doing something important.
Come on.
That's what I love actually about when you take a moment to think of God's timing. There's a reason that you've been invited to church today or this recent rather than last year or 2 years from now, or after your struggles are gone. It's like, I always think about not what we're trying to do as a church or, a fellowship, but like, why did God allow you to be reached out now? Yeah. You might be going, well, after my exams, or after I sort this out with my family, or after I do this. Yeah. There's a reason it's now important to God. It's a reason now. Why? Because maybe He wants you to learn how to be a Christian no matter what the circumstance is, no matter what the timing. Be amazed more than confused of what God is doing. More than anything, this woman changed everything because of her attitude. Jesus didn't answer, her request immediately. Didn't mean that He didn't love her. He loved everyone, but He was simply just going, hey, there's a priority I have at the moment. I'm going after the Jews, the Israelites first, and then I need to go after the Gentiles. But guess what? This woman's attitude changed God's mission. He was like, okay, well, if you have that much faith, if that's your attitude, okay, you get a miracle as well. She acknowledged that Jesus could bless her, and therefore He did so. Nothing stopped her. She begged, she knelt down, she embarrassed herself in front of God and man, and a miracle came. My challenge is, how does your attitude? In conclusion, I know usually sermons have more than one point. But to be honest, this is all I really wanted to focus on because I believe this is all I'm really learning. I didn't want to muddy the water with all these other things and just have a longer sermon just for the sake of it. Because sometimes more words don't give you more meaning. How's your attitude?
Come on, buddy.
That's it. Yes, I've learned how to be more organized. I've learned how to take ownership more of my actions, to make leaders and confront sin quickly with indignation. But my heart and my attitude is all that matters. When I'm in Samoa, I pray that is my still focus. I'm going to learn a lot of things from Effie and Emmanuel and just the island there. But I know the one thing I always have to focus on is, how is my attitude? My title, again, was What Can Happen in a Year? How's your attitude? All that matters. Any disciple will tell you a lot. Living as a Christian 1 year feels like 10 years. You ask somebody, how was your week? Like, I forgot about Monday. I don't know anymore. Like, just pray for me. But what can happen in a year? Your attitude will determine. Thank you very much.
Give a round of applause to Sean. Thank you so much for being here.